right there, Latin 2. Go ahead and translate chapter 54. All right, my turn. So there was such heat in the month of July in the city that everyone was wanting to go to the country house. Gaius Cornelius, therefore, began to prepare everything to return to Baiae. Before they set out, a very sad thing happened. Cornelius, as he was accustomed, had gone with Titus, his brother, to the baths. Through the whole house, there was silence. Suddenly, voices and shouting were heard. Cornelius was ordering slaves to bring a litter into the house with the greatest care. Aurelia, with the voices having been heard, burst into the atrium. What has happened, or what happened, Gaius? Why do you order the slaves to bring the litter chair into the house? To which Cornelius said, our Titus has received something bad, something of bad. The floor of the cold room was so smooth and so slippery that he fell down having slipped. I think that he broke his hip. The doctor must immediately be sent for. For many days, Titus was lying in bed. At first, he was seeming to grow stronger. Soon, however, he was becoming weaker, for he suddenly slipped into a fever, or fell into a fever. Day by day, his illness was growing worse. At last, he was so weak that he scarcely could speak. Not a little later, he departed from life. Cornelius was overcome by great grief. The whole house gave itself over to grief. Cornelia and Aurelia and all the female slaves, with their clothing having been torn and their clothes and their hair having been loosened, were beating their breasts. The body of Titus was placed on a funeral bed in the atrium. Around the bed, lamps and candles were burning. On the following day, the corpse of Titus, the body of Titus, with great honor was carried out. Pipers, horn players, and trumpet players were going in front. In the ceremonial procession, there were men holding torches, women singing dirges, actors and carrying the death masks and the clothing of their ancestors, mimes, lictors carrying the fasces, the rods, household members, and friends lamenting or mourning. When they had come into the forum, Gaius Cornelius set forth in order to praise his brother, his dead brother. He recalled what sort of man Titus had been, how many services he had rendered to the emperor and to the citizens. With this having been done, the body of Titus was brought to the tombs of the Via Flaminia in a funeral procession. There, a funeral pyre had been built. The body was placed on the funeral pyre, or onto the funeral pyre, and above the body, the clothes and decorations, or ornamentia, his nice stuff. Gaius Cornelius approached, holding a torch in his hand, which, with his eyes turned away, he thrust this torch into the funeral pyre. With the funeral rites having been carried out, the sad Cornelii returned home. They were talking a lot about Titus. They were remembering how funny or how cheerful he had been and how much he had loved the children. They said, we greatly will miss him. So there you go. Now go ahead and do 54A. All right. I'm going to hit the button.